Okay, so this is the Drupal Usability meeting for November 15th, 2016. There's quite a few of us today again.
Okay, a couple of topics today. Are you ready to review, Angie, or do you need to set up something? And we
Yeah, let's maybe do a talky topic first, and then.
yes. Okay, which one is the one of the more talky? Yes, Kevin, media is a real initiative. You did some testing on the prototype. Let's have a recap of that.
Sure. Okay. So for people who are not familiar with the issue, let me just find the issue number here real quick. Hold on. I think I have it open here. Yeah, the issue. No, I don't have it open. One second. So I also can share my screen and show the updated version of the prototype, which some people may not necessarily have seen. The issue number is 2796001. Prototype create design for media library, and the prototype is. Let me get back to Hangouts. The prototype is here, and then I'm going to share, and I'm going to show you what the updated prototype looks like, which is this. And some of the new nice things that are in here are that you've seen this functionality before, and we've seen the modifying item. This has changed a little bit. One of the nice things that's here now, this has changed slightly. We have the external media sort of little bar here. These are sort of just instructions about the prototype itself. And then this is the interesting thing that's new, which I really like. We had actually done something quite similar, or we had mapped out some similar designs to this a few years back, myself and Janusz. I think it was in Prague, maybe. But the idea is to have, if you are adding multiple assets, to add multiples, all in one place, so that you would have you would have a scrolling list of the metadata that you wanted to add from multiple items, so that you wouldn't have to go from item to item to item through a wizard if you had very many of them, which I think this is a lot nicer. I'm not sure exactly whether this is MVP or not. We could discuss that. I think maybe possibly not. But the other thing is that this was completed after I did the tests on the two test subjects, so they didn't see this. So I think everyone on this call has seen the other functionality as well. The different categories and the and the ability to modify the items, and then once you insert, to customize. This has changed slightly as well, actually, per some comments that I made in the issue, where the customize now is below, and canonical was put over here to the side. And then the customize opens the field that you can add your custom text into. And then if you don't want to have it there, you can blow it away by just clicking the X, which is a little bit cleaner and simpler than what it was before, where it had a description. So I tested against two subjects, one of whom was an experienced Drupal developer, and one of whom was a relatively experienced Drupal content creator, Drupal user, but not a developer. And some of the feedback was that there was a little bit of confusion here around the difference between newest and recently uploaded. But I think that that's the kind of thing that's less of a concern, because it's going to be an experience when somebody actually does it and sees what happens, that it's going to be a one-click learn. I dug in on the search field here because, or the search filter, because I was concerned that maybe people might think that it was a search, like a traditional search box where they would search, submit, and then see a result set, rather than it filtering, this list of this grid of things. But I was wrong about that. Actually, it was pretty clear to both users that if they would type here, that they would be filtering the existing items. So some of this was maybe could possibly use a little bit of refinement, and that's in detailed notes. But it was pretty well understood. This was a little bit not discoverable, and also I don't know really whether it's necessary. Also, the modify item was not very discoverable. I made a comment in the issue that perhaps we might want to just put a modify on the actual icon itself. And then when we go to the insert, or actually first before we do that, we go to the, when we go here, this screen was totally understandable. There were no problems at all. It was very clear to both users exactly what they were doing. And I don't know that we even need, although it's been commented, I don't know that we necessarily need the affordance. I see that there was a dotted line affordance here. It's not very noticeable or obvious that it's a dotted line. A lot of the other affordances that you'll see in these kind of uploads have a much heavier, thicker dotted line. But like I said, it's not even necessary. It wasn't even necessary for these users to see a dotted line in order to know what they were doing here. They also both expected that they could upload multiple files, although the content author user thought that she would have to hold down the control key in order to do that. I don't know that that's necessarily a problem, but or just an artifact of a PC user. And then, like I said, this screen didn't look like this. It was just a single image with its metadata. It was clearly understood by both users that they were editing metadata on this particular media entity that would be used for every insertion of it, unless it was overridden and they hadn't seen the possibility of override at that point. There was confusion here around save and insert that definitely needs to be cleared up. Both users thought that if they clicked save and insert that they would be brought back to this screen, and that is not, as I understand it, what would happen. In fact, you would be brought, if you clicked save and insert, you would skip that screen and be brought directly back into either the WYSIWYG or the form field or wherever you had started the process of adding media from. So these ones need to be definitely need a little bit of attention. And then the last thing is, of course, like I said, the inserting. This, as we all talked about, is the place where the most confusion occurred. And first of all, the confusion was around the fact that the customized link was not discoverable enough. It needed to be much clearer that there was a link there. Also,
did they want to change, or did you direct them to change, customize
the test plan is in the issue, so okay. You can read the actual instructions that I gave them. But the instruction, I didn't give them any clear instruction here. At first, I just said, what do you think you could do on this screen? Have a look at the screen. What do you think is possible here for you to do, as you're adding this image? Both users said that this was some kind of a preview, that they were just doing a double check. One user said it was a preview, said it was like a preview. Brandon said it was a preview. and the other user said it was like a double check, like a fail-safe check on whether this was the right text, and they did not notice the customized links. Once I pointed out the customized links, or I didn't point out the customized links. I said, "Are you sure there's nothing else that you can do here?" And then they looked closer and they saw, "Oh well, what about this customized? Maybe I guess might be able to click that." And then they clicked it and it opened up and they could see that they could change this. As soon as they saw it, and as soon as they saw that you could enter custom text and that this text was still here above it, both users immediately understood that this was an override of the default. They understood the concept without a problem. Both of them understood that you could dismiss it if you wanted to. And both of them understood that if you added custom text here for this insertion, that custom text was only going to be for this insertion and not for following insertions, which would get the default text. So understanding the conceptual idea was not a problem, I think, but just the discoverability of the customized link itself. And also the canonical thing. They didn't understand what canonical meant. That should just be default or something, some other kind of wording, because neither user, and Brandon is a very experienced Drupal developer, did not know what canonical meant at all.
Does it have to be labeled at all?
Yeah, does it have to be labeled at all? That's a good point.
If you customize it, it's the trigger word, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, because that tells you that you're creating something that's an override, and I think it's pretty clear with that, and doesn't necessarily need to be spelled out anymore. However, in the issue in the issue itself, some comments were made about whether this was, whether this really was MVP functionality. I don't think it is. And I think that, we have given the fact that we have limited time to try to get this issue in, I think any descoping that we can do will be valuable. And I posed a question in the issue, which is, if we don't make this MVP, what is the MVP behavior? Is it that there is just a canonical description, or is it that every insertion gets its own unique alt text? Those are all of the that's all of the feedback on the actual test. So I guess at that point I can open it up to discussion on that exact point. What do people think we should?
So if we leave this out, it's like, do we basically create only a fixed version of these texts, or always present people, or always ask people to fill out something without providing a default? That's the question, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the default behavior right now is we always ask people to fill out something, because it's always a new insertion via the WYSIWYG. But I think personally that maybe we should make the default be that there's a standard.
Is the default optional?
Oh, I don't know that.
Because that's how you work with fields right now, right? You can provide a default value if it's not filled out for an image or even for a text.
Yeah, that's a really good question that I do not know the answer to. Gabor, maybe?
I think there would be a default for the field, but what we are talking about here is that there would be a value on the media that is used in all placements of that media, right? As opposed to never being able to edit the alt text on any media, which is a different question.
Yeah,
so I think this screen was for the placement of the media, where it would display the metadata of the media globally, and you would be able to change the metadata in the placement of the media for that placement.
Right. So maybe perhaps we just offload that task, right, onto onto the the WYSIWYG itself or other subsystems. In other words, make the work that gets done on this media project, right, just be concerned with adding the initial metadata itself and not be concerned with adding or choosing.
Adding it in a way that makes it that keeps it overridable by something.
Yeah, I think
Is that a possible strategy?
Contrib could make that overridable. I don't think the existing features in core require us to implement overridable metadata, because what we have now in CK editor is you upload an image and you can specify the alt text right there, but it's not entered in the media library. So basically you need to specify it there. And then we have files that may have alt text on them, but they are not insertable in WYSIWYG. So we have both independently, but we don't have a connection between them. So when we make the connection, the existing features don't require us to make it overridable by any means, I think. So I think we can consider that an advanced feature for Contrib for now, and we can implement it later in core.
That sounds like a good way to reduce scope somewhat. Can we say the same thing about the multiple file listing? Or maybe is that not really necessarily adding scope? Is it just a sort of a front end thing?
Well, we don't have a gallery display plugin or feature in core either, right? So we don't have a way to display gallery in a post right now. So I don't know how. So that would be yet another new feature to implement. That looks innocent on the media designs, but then it needs to somehow appear when you place it in the WYSIWYG somewhere. Then it needs to be rendered as a gallery somehow with certain behaviors and stuff. So, and then people want to configure those behaviors, I guess.
Right.
So that may be interesting.
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure that. So there's a gallery, but then there's also just multi-file upload, which doesn't necessarily imply a gallery. It's just, I just went to my computer and I added 7 files, right? And I'm not necessarily inserting them all at once or inserting them into a gallery. I'm just adding them into the media library all at once.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That should work.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really that's everything that I had to talk about for as far as media is concerned.
So should we just get this thing built?
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, Angie, what do you think? Do you think that there are still refinements that can be made to the design, but can we commit this prototype issue? Even with some outstanding refinements still to be done?
Yeah, I think so. What I would recommend in this case is maybe mark the issue R2BC and put the excuse me, guys. Put the final image in the top part of the issue center. That's what I'm trying to say. Because we have the ideas queue review on Thursday, and then we can get that in the queue, or something that we run past the core committers. And then I think, Kevin, if you're able to attend that meeting, it's at Thursday at noon Pacific, which would be 2 Central.
Yeah.
If you're able to attend that meeting and kind of do a walkthrough, just like you did on this call, I think that would be really helpful. Let's see if they have it. Oh God. Sorry, guys.
We won't make you talk too much more.
Anyway,
But yeah, I can definitely.
June RTBC. Ta-da.
Yeah. Okay, I will come to the meeting, and yeah, and cool. I'll put the image in the summary as well.
And let's start outlining a plan, I guess. Or is it
Yeah.
a plan issue? So now we...
Yeah, that'd be the next step. That's gonna get tricky because I think we need media entity in core in order to do a lot of this, but we'll see. Maybe we start running.
Can you commit that one today?
Yeah, right. I don't think there's a patch yet, I recall.
Details.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interactions that we can work out with our media entity. So I think
Okay. Yeah. Just writing against file or image entities for now.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So things, for example, like having a good and well constructed grid grid within a modal. That's kind of something that we need that's independent of this. It's like that's like a standard library that we need. We need like a Flexbox grid for any kind of wall of thumbnails in core. So there's lots of sort of
Views though does this, so we should ideally use whatever Views has or make it better.
Oh God, no, we shouldn't use whatever Views has, because Views wraps everything in 1,000 divs and creates junk. We should use Views to output its most basic form of view that strips out all of the classes. But yeah, we shouldn't use Views grid settings because they create a mess. We will be creating much more problems for ourselves.
What I'm saying is we've already got a mechanism for generating grids. So if it's not good enough, we should fix it because we don't want to have two mechanisms in core for generating grids. That doesn't make any sense.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
So I think in an MVP, we could just use whatever Views does, but then we can make it better in a future patch or something. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know we do want this output to be a view, ideally, because then people can make further customization.
Tweak their listings, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It should certainly be a view. I think that, I think that we're essentially saying the same thing. What we need is to output it as a view, but then improve the way that Views grids work a little bit by adding some better CSS classes, basically.
Sure. And how much actual visual design work does this still need? I mean, this is a relatively high fidelity prototype.
It is relatively high fidelity. I think it's, everything here is, everything here already has a pattern in 7 style guide. So it's really a question of simply applying the patterns. But I do think that that there needs to be at least an exercise gone through of doing that in Photoshop, if only just on one screen, on one sort of image that shows, well, okay, this is what it looked like in this sort of like stripped down prototype. Here's what it is going to look like when it's actually in a modal. Modals are already styled by 7 Theme in a specific kind of way, jQuery modals. So we have that styling. It's just things that don't exist, like the affordances around the hovers and the effects on the images and things like that.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about like in the upload with the drop zone screen, everything is centered, which looks sensible. But there's a cancel link left of the blue button. That's that kind of thing.
There's architectural anti-patterns to the way we have done things elsewhere in core. Certainly.
I do think some of that though could be worked out during the implementation.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's not a blocker to getting started on coding stuff.
Yeah, but having said that, Angie, I think that there is it's valuable at least to have one screen or more or possibly 2, that literally, translate this into the 7 vernacular stuff, so that whoever is working on the development of the of the front end stuff has something to work from that approximates what it will look like and isn't like, in its own sort of kind of look and feel. I think it's a relatively small task in the process.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I guess I'm up. Let's see if I can stop hacking for. Where the heck did all my tabs go? I need to share. Just give me a minute, guys. Sorry.
By the way, while Angie's doing that, just FYI, my son has a music lesson at 3 o'clock, so I'm going to need to drop like 10 minutes before the end. So if I suddenly disappear, that's why.
Huh. I did not know where that went.
Just one small thing. With the customized link, when you are adding an element, have you tried to use the pen that is actually being used for the context link or for the inline editing? I mean, it doesn't have the word customized, but I don't know, it makes, I don't know if it's better or not, but at least it's the same, it's using the same thing that we are already using somewhere else.
I think that's a really good idea. I think that we should try that. I think that's something, again, that can be tested out in the implementation phase.
Mm.
That's a good idea.
Great.
Okay. I think I'm good here. So, we are reviewing issue number. We have the issue number handy, otherwise I can find it. Oh. I can find it once I've dealt with two-factor authentication. Does anybody have the, it's in Slack. Oops. Stuff here. This Slack, there. 2421427. That's the issue that we're looking at, which is improve the UX of quick editing single-valued image fields. They're a nice, helpful little animated GIF on how it works. It's lovely. And so I have a Simply Test Me setup where I have installed this thing. And you can see I've uploaded some images. If I click edit here, you can see it highlights all the stuff. If I click on the image, I get this thing. If I click to upload, I can upload whatever. This is maps, save. So that part of it works really well. I did manage to break it, but I think this is a quick edit bug and not a bug with this patch where if we look at this node, you can see that it has an image in the body field as well as an image, like a regular image. And if I try to quick edit the image field, for some reason the trigger doesn't update. It still says it's body hello world. So if I try and click this, I'm just going to get things to update the WYSIWYG editor, not the actual image. But I don't think that has to do with this patch.
That does look like just a quick edit bug.
And it looks like a quick edit bug with the, you know. So, so basically, it functions fine to me. I reviewed the last few comments of the issue, and it looks like here's the latest patch. Droplet is finding some issues with it. He might have hit the same bug I did. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he found the same bug that I did. And he's saying it only adds a new inline editor single value image field, so it has nothing to do with CK editor. So if that's a bug, it's an existing bug. Oh, there we go. There's already an issue for that, so that's good. And they're basically explaining, this is an existing issue with Quick Edit. Kotzer, who we were kind of waiting on before, says he doesn't have time to re-review this in the near future. And another committer could pick it up, but he was happy with it overall last he looked, so that's good. Tobias had an issue that he raised, but that he withdrew it back here. So yeah, so I think that the remaining objections have been resolved. It has been reviewed by a JavaScript maintainer, although the JavaScript maintainer wasn't able to actually see it working, probably because they hit the same bug I did. And then there was this stuff about using strict, but I think that that all got resolved as well. So they did this with use strict in a different issue. So I think it's ready to go. We can look through the patch if you want. It's pretty long. So it's adding some CSS for images. And I just like do because, you know, Kotzer already reviewed that stuff. It triggers a cache flush for existing sites in order to make sure that they get the updated CSS and all that kind of stuff. It defines a new library, quick edit in-place editor, and with various dependencies and all this kind of stuff. Creates a couple of new URLs for creating the image. Has that default error, has the default upload image in SVG format, which is nice. Here's a bunch of JavaScript. Yay, JavaScript. That's interesting. So they have different states for different things of that Dropbox, like whether it's being actively clicked on or whether it's not. Anyway, the functionality is really nice though, because I think of the old way, you have to basically get an ugly image upload field and just kind of do something with it there. One thing that could be nice is if we made the form field version of it also do this drop zone thing, but that could be a separate patch.
That would be good.
Yeah, because I noticed when I was uploading this. Here, you know, it's like if I want to replace this image, it's like kind of stodgy. It's like remove and then choose a new file and then, you know, blah blah blah. You know, there's no nice preview and alt text and stuff like that. But I don't actually know how that would work because like the quick edit version has like this groovy, like floaty bits thing. Like, what is happening with my layouts here? This was also interesting. When you don't have a body field, it like puts the comment form next to it, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, so this floaty bit up above the drop zone, that's kind of specific to quick edit. So I don't know how we would replicate that on the backend for it. Just saying, that would be kind of cool. Okay. Here's the markup for it. Here's the controller, the backend side of things and how it's doing its thing. Parsing through the upload as it's going through. Okay, that's good. It's doing validation to make sure that you can't put something too crazy in there. It's interesting. It puts it in the temp store. So that means if I bailed out of the thing in the middle, it would catch that and it'd be cool. Right. Image formatter. Oh, good. That's a little funny. We put quick edit stuff in the image module, but I guess that's maybe how the API works. And then we have tests. Hooray. So creating an article content type, we're logging in as a content author. Create a field with basic resolution values. Cool. Make sure that people who can't upload images can't upload images. Make sure that if you put something in there that should be able to go in there, you get it back. And make sure that if you put something in way too big, you don't get it back. It looks good. Oh, JavaScript tests even. My goodness. Wow. Fancy. That's great.
But what font are you using?
Me? I'm using Courier or whatever this is. Oh, and then we make a change to stable. Okay. So that's why this can only be an 8.3, because ideally we're not making changes to the stable theme in point releases, because it should be stable. So, but the reason we need to do that is so that sites that are currently using the stable theme inherit all this nice styling stuff. So, okay, that looks okay to me. I'm gonna need to fix my two-factor authentication stuff. So let me stop sharing this screen for a minute, and we can discuss what we've seen. Anyone?
It looks like it works to me. I mean, it definitely is an improvement.
A question just from what I saw in the patch. If I saw an SVG being expressed in the patch, does that create a file, or is that inline something SVG? Does it create an SVG file somewhere? Or?
I think that SVG is the uploading progress icon, which is a different progress icon throbber from our standard loading progress icon throbber, but it's better. So it's the sort of, you know, spinner around an up arrow, which has its own specific semantic meaning, which is different from just a standard generic throbber. So I think that that's fine. It's good that it is an SVG. I think I'm right that that was the SVG that I saw. I'd have to see the patch again in order to get it.
No, yeah, I was just wondering if that creates a file somewhere, or.
Yeah, I'm not. Hold on, let me look at it. Let me look at the patch in the issue.
All right, I am logged in. To answer your question.
I mean, it's not important to the patch. I was just interested.
Yeah, I believe it does. Let's see. Yep, it makes a couple of new. I can share my screen. It makes a couple of new files. Images upload.svg and images error.svg.
Okay.
I didn't test the error handling bit in real life, but it looks like there's tests, like automated tests for that. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. Those are new throbber icons, or well, yeah. One is the throbber icon.
Oh, not throbber. I don't think they're the drop zone images. So in other words, it must give you a different drop zone if you try and. I mean, we could test that too. We could do. Tips. Image fields. We could say we're only going to allow JPEG extensions, for example, and maximum image release of 10 by 10. Right. And then if we go and try to create another one of these. Actually, first I'm gonna upload. I'm gonna need to upload an image then. That JPEG. Okay, let's make it a little easier on ourselves. What is this thing? This is a JPEG, and it is this time. Help. I don't want it grouped by size. That's not helpful. Oh dear. I mean, that's helpful for what I was trying to do earlier, which was get rid of things. Oh, there we go. Yes. Oops, that's my password. Let's see. What I'm trying to do here is figure out how big this is. Really? Oh, it's just all I need to know is your width and your height there, buddy. Is it back here? 256 by 256. There we go. So, anyway, this is taking a lot of time for something that should just work because we have test coverage for it. But in the interest of thoroughness, let's see. Okay. So, go back to content, add new content. Whoa. Article. Use a good, save and publish. Yes. Okay, so now I'll try and quick edit this and give it something insanely large like that. Should get an error because it's too big. Yep. That's really nice.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Good job, error handling. Anyway, so I'm gonna commit this. This is not normally the kind of patch that I would commit since it's got a bunch of stuff in it that's kind of out of my wheelhouse, as you saw when I was like, oh no, that's like some JavaScript. But to Wim's point, this has been RTBC for about 2 months now, which is kind of a long time for something to be RTBC. Let's see. Tricks.
So I have to drop off now to take my son over to this place, but I put in the comment bar on the side these other two small, very small outside in issues that are RTBC. Okay. If there's time, but
yeah, there's not going to be time on this call, but I can try and take a look at those after.
Awesome. Okay, so I may be able to jump back on if I get to the music place within the next 10 minutes.
Okay. Yep, have fun.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kate.
So, it's more bigoted. All right. We've got we've got 8.3 checked out. Let me grab that patch. Clients. It's take a while to make this commit message here. HJM has a billion. Oh no, that's Wim. Okay. It's like, let's see. That should help with some of the cat hitting there. Gabor, sorry, I don't think I'm going to give you credit on this. Is that okay? Well, I don't know. You helped behind the scenes pushing this along, so yeah, we're gonna give you credit for this, boy.
Okay.
Boy, I provided sign off. I'm starting to agree. Tobias, I saw him comment. Hopefully, Naveen. I mean, you know what? Everybody gets a commit credit.
There we
That's what
go.
we're gonna do. I just am too sick to do this, and we're just gonna do that. All right. Wow, that seemed to actually work. Half the time when you do this, it doesn't work. But this time it looks like it's actually updating it, so that's awesome. So we can do this in one go. What? Oh my. Oh, you know what? This is that. Oh, man. So we have these committer tools that are there to check, to make sure that white space and stuff is working, and it looks like my committer tools are messed up somehow. Crap. I have to fix that before I can commit this. Okay. Well, let's all go. Alex Potts GitHub. This is so funny. That's it, I think. Yep. Okay, so it's barking at me. Okay. Well, let's... So that's up to date. Yep, good. And then make sure that we yep, those are similar to properly. That's all good, except it's not running PHP CS, so I must have something screwed up here. Oh, come on, Drupal.org. You can do it. Oh my, this meeting is so boring. It's a lot of watching things happen for no reason. Really? Let me do that, please. And Drupal.org is down. Hooray! Alright, I have other ways of doing this.
So I think we can also open the floor if there's any other suggestions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Christina or Aaron to discuss topics. So Christina, I asked on the status page issue about the outstanding things. And
I think,
there may be many outstanding things.
yeah, I think there's something that Larry and Joel discussed, that they still need to update the summary.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something, it's the last thing I read there. And I think the main issue right now is updating the summary and fixing something, but I still don't know what is it exactly.
Yeah. So it would be nice to have a list of
Yeah,
what is still done there, because it seems to be endlessly going on from what I see.
Yeah, I think right now there's just some people that actually will be able to jump in. I mean, there's a lot of info that it's not there or is in a lot of different comments, and it's difficult to follow it. So it will be a nice date. And I think nothing else there.
Yeah. Any other topics that people want to talk about? Maybe?
Let's organize a virtual UX sprint on December 9th.
Yeah, forgot about that. And hey, it worked. Whoosh. Ah.
Rejected.
Whoosh again. Yay! Holy cow, that was a pain in the ass. All right. We're gonna go back here again. Where are we at? You guys can still talk unless you know. I don't need silence in order to type in a box. It's okay.
Shh.
Does anyone have any plans to go to DrupalCon in Baltimore?
It sounds a bit too early for me to plan yet.
Yeah. Too far.
Yeah.
But there's
I'm not planning on planning for it.
Good.
So I think what's interesting about Baltimore is the dates are the end of April, so it's April 24th to 28th. And if you look at the Drupal release dates, then, because I always forget, I always Google, so the release date for 8.3 is April 5th. So 8.3 will be released 2 or 3 weeks before Baltimore, and we'll be neck deep in working on figuring out 8.4. So it's a lot to do there. But I think it largely depends on what we can accomplish until then.
The other thing to bear in mind is the deadline for committing patches to 8.3 is January 31st, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that
I
week.
don't know how to find that page, but
It's the week of January 30th. So it's not that far away.
no.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So whenever 8.3 beta 1 is released, that means that's the end of committing features. Unless we have very, 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 very good reason to not do that. Which, you know, we did let a couple slide for 8.2. Like I believe content.
But that was not a precedent. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't like making exceptions for things. So I know I already committed it, but now I'm just I just want to see if that same problem happens without the patch, right? Because it doesn't make sense that the patch would affect this. But, anyway, we could end the call anytime. I'm just like curious about it. Okay, well, let me give everyone their like closure here. It looks good to us. A bunch of non-technical people.
Yes, we liked the
Well, that was
JavaScript tests.
something, though. He wasn't like, oh God. I really want to see if it still happens though. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have to.
I can tell you.
I seriously think we should end the call so that you guys never know if you didn't make the meeting. This is why you should come to the meetings. Okay. So we're gonna upload an image. Then whatever, that one's fine. Okay. So remember the ugly JPEG thing is the one that was in the CK editor doodad, and then the map is the one that was in the image doodad. Okay. Map. So map. Yes, that's what I need right now. Okay. So in theory, what should happen is when I go to quick edit, this image, yeah, okay, cool. The same thing happens. So what was happening, the bug that Droplet was describing is that you can't actually quick edit this image. It wraps it in the whole body. So that's a problem. And it might be that like, if this body actually had more text in it, you know, like, actually, I bet I could do that too. Body, right? Yeah, Wikipedia, what you got on me? Hurricane Kate, sure. Let's talk about Hurricane Kate for many, 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 many paragraphs. I'll do that. There. And I hit save. Now what I'm guessing is that if I go to edit, whoa, what happened there? That didn't work at all. I think I might have hit the back button or something. Okay, weird. What? Put that image back. Yes, yes, yes. That's neat that it copied in the images too. That's really handy. Good job. I don't know what that screenshot is a screenshot of. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I think it's still gonna do it. The same thing. Oops, not configurable. Ah, no. So even if there's text in there, I think it's still gonna think that's part of the body. Yeah, it does. Okay. Well, anyway, let me take a screenshot of that. Because it's useful. I think they weren't quite understanding what Droplet was saying, but it's definitely a bug. But it is definitely a bug, not with this patch. So we don't need to worry about it too much. So, tools.
All right.
Imitate oval. So this. Whoop. God, how am I going to do this? We need like some arrows or something. Arrows. Boop. Okay. Whoa, bendy arrows.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's so cool.
I'm so glad I didn't exit the
Anyway,
meeting yet.
you don't need to stay on here while I do this. This is really funny. So literally feel free to call it anytime. But what I'm going to do is just basically this, and then my text is going to be like, this is an image field, but the target says body due to proximity field, or whatever.
All right, I am going. People,
Yep.
thanks all.
All right, so I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to upload it, and then I'm going to mark the issue fixed. So that's what's going to happen here. Okay? Boop.
All right.
Yay.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Amazing.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.